Well, revs are up and gate is down in the Masters 50-plus class, off and rolling. The John Gruey Show, as Kevin Kelly says here at Loretta Lynn's, as we roll into that Bell Moto hole shot forest and across that hole shot stripe for the first time. It's the 31 of Barry Karsten out front, crowned John Gruey, McIlvain right there with him, Derek Latham, Galen Dixon actually getting off to a strong start here aboard the 93. Frank Koenig, also Edgar Fodish, Alan Alford, who's been strong this week in starts. He got off 9th, and Ralph Bentley. Let's see how it all sorts out as we roll into the 10 Commandments, Kevin. And there it is, the star of the show, right to the front of the pack.
John Gruey wearing that fresh-looking Fox gear. My goodness, the day-glow green. It's like something Jeff Matasevich wore way back when. That stuff looks on point for little Johnny Gruey. Little Johnny Gruey, Chewy Gruey granola bars out front. Rodney, keep it together, man.
You don't need to be throwing those at me right after lunch like that, man.
You got a little Gruey granola bar stuck in your teeth there.
So Gruey off and rolling, and look at this as we roll into the sweep return there out front of the Rocky Mountain ATVMC family deck. Barry Karsten not far off the pace there, and the 45 machine of Matthew Crown, who started right behind Karsten back there in that number 3 position. So Gruey actually able to just really work up through that pack very quickly as he was 3rd off the start, but we know how that Bell Moto hole shot forest works. You just got to get the right line after that hole shot stripe, and you can make some quick passes.
That's correct, and if you're wondering if that is lime green, it absolutely is back home, folks. That gear, that motorcycle, bright day glow green, I love it. That is a hot setup. Little Johnny Gruey throwing out some style there.
In this Masters 50-plus class, of course, Edgar Fodish. Now, look at that. We've already seen changes back there in the 3rd place position as Fodish has moved up into the number 3 position. Koenig now in 4th. Ralph Bentley in 5th. Mark Smith in 6th. Derek Latham is 7th. James McIlvain in 8th. Alan Alford 9th. Galen Dixon back in 10th. And there's Earl May in the 11th place position. David Jones, John Choate, Todd Rico, and also Matthew Crown rounding out the top 15. So out of the 10 Commandments for the second time now, and John Gruey continues to lead Karsten. You know, this one always offering up some great battles in the Masters 50-plus class when you see Gruey and Karsten together. And this time around, Karsten, as we knew, really getting frustrated with losing all the time to the 70 of John Gruey. So we know he's digging deep and wanting to try to make the pass and see where we can set ourselves up as far as a championship. However, it's going to be tough for Karsten to win this championship, coming in with 2 2s, and John Gruey with a set of pocket aces there with a couple of Moto wins. He'd have if he did drop back to the number 2 spot, a 1-1-2 would score 4, and a 2-2-1 would be 5. So still John Gruey would have the advantage with the overall score and consistency of those first 2 Moto wins. So it's going to take a little more than that in order for Karsten to win, but a feather in the cap would be a Moto win and a gold to take home for Loretta's for the number 31 machine as well. So as those two begin to stretch things out over the rest of the field, we saw only a 4.4 second lead over Fodish, that 3rd place ride, who had just passed up into that position, having to work through several riders to get there. And now looking over the shoulder of these riders, we see Koenig, Fodish, Bentley. Those boys are really still going at it. Crossing the finish line now for 2 laps complete. Looks like Koenig has made his way into the number 3 spot. Fodish now 4th. Mark Smith in 5th. Ralph Bentley, we should expect to see in that 6th place spot. But this is the battle that we're watching. 12 seconds behind the leaders right now is the battle for the 3rd place position. Koenig, Fodish, and Mark Smith. More than anything, it's the 51 and 61 as they make their way around the Yamaha Mechanics area and into the Bell Moto Forest now, heading toward the short chutes. Riders trying to make up time. We'll see no line changes out there. They're actually riding the same line. Mark Smith utilizing the same race line that Fodish is using at the moment. But then again, once we get into the second short chute, we may, and out of that there, coming into the 10 Commandments, may see a little bit of a change up as Fodish and both Smith keeping very clean lines through that Ten Commandments section, now heading back into the Storyland area. Looking back through the pack, we see McElvain. Earl May is now up from like 11th or 12th at the end of that first lap. He's into 8th place position. He's knocking on that 7th place position door, the 33 of James McElvain, and Matthew Crown right behind Earl May on the 45 machine, and Galen Dixon's right there. Also Todd Rico and Derek Latham. We've got about a 5-6 man shootout right now going on for that 7th place position here in this Masters 50 plus class, plus this heated battle for the 4th place spot between the 51 of Fotish and Mark Smith, the 61. Here they come over and into the heart of this race course now under that Yamaha banner, and over that step up and step over, I guess you could say, into the Kawasaki jump. Here we go into the Thor sweeper. Are we going to see any time made up by Smith on Fotish this time around? He's ridden a lot of the same race line, but here toward the end of the lap has been switching things up, trying to find a little better line. He's on the inside, goes the outside, Fotish. Smith to the inside as we make the drive to the finish line. It will still be Fotish as he crosses the stripe in that 4th place position. 3rd and 4th now 20 seconds off the pace of Karsten and Gruey, who are about 3 seconds apart up front now. And Mark Smith back in that 5th place, as we said. He's got a 6-second gap back to 6th place. Matthew Crown now 4 seconds back as he's won this battle. Galen Dixon's moved up into 8th. Todd Rico back into a top 10 and 9th. Earl May drops from 8th to 10th. James McElvain rounds out the 11th place position. So those guys kind of got that sorted out, looks like, on lap number 3. We're starting to see some distances in between them. However, Earl May, I don't think is completely done here. He may have been taken back a spot or so, but I believe May is going to be firing back. And look at this, speaking of firing back, smart Mark Smith fired hard, and Edgar Fotish trying to fire back on him as we were looking at the details of what's going on back here in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th place positions. We get the pass by Mark Smith on Edgar Fotish now. So once again, recapping this moto as we roll into the halfway point now. Barry Karsten got the hole shot, and quickly John Gruey to the front of the pack. Gruey and Karsten doing their battle. And then, of course, since then, we've been paying attention to the battle between Fotish and Smith for 4th, and that battle for 7th with Crown, Dixon, Rico, May, and McElvain. Looks like things are starting to settle down, though, here at the midway point. 8 minutes into this race and about 7 minutes left to go. Gruey checking in for 4, Karsten in for 4. Gruey turning his fastest lap that time around at a 1:59.078, now increasing his lead to 5.4 seconds over the 31 of Karsten. Moto number 3, the championship moto. And as we take a look at the overall scores right now, again, it would be John Gruey, Barry Karsten with a 3.43 right now. Frank Koenig would take the overall 3rd place position. Matthew Crown going 4.37 would be 4th overall. Mark Smith with a 6.64 could see a top 5 overall. And Earl May, who finished 5th in Moto 1, 7th in Moto 2, and now 9th, is riding in 9th, is looking at a 6th place overall. So he's got some ground to make up to move up through the ranks as far as that is concerned. And it looks like we got another battle about to shape up here. There's Ralph Bentley. Looks like he's closing up on the 45 of Matthew Crown, and that's a 5th place position we're looking at there. Actually, I believe Crown just got around him as we take a look at that. Bentley making a mistake on that last lap. He turned a 2.14, and Crown really wicking it up as he smelled blood in the water, moving into that number 5 position. So look for Ralph Bentley to quite possibly try to strike back. There's Galen Dixon now. Dixon also making some gains, and a benefactor of Ralph Bentley's miscue there as he is looking at the rear wheel and got him in sight for that 6th place position. 3 seconds is what the tail of the tape was whenever they came across the finish line for lap number 4 complete. And as we watch our riders making their way through Storyland now, you can tell Galen Dixon trying to lay chase to something or someone out there as well, trying to keep some distance between himself and Todd Rico, and Earl May up to 9th. Rico, the number 37, really making some more ground up again there, as he was within a half second of Dixon at the end of lap number 4. Dixon, though, appears to be by himself right now on that 93 Suzuki. Ten and a half minutes, 4.5 minutes left to go. 2-lap board, I believe, coming out on this one this time around. We're going to have to head down to the podium. There's the 96 and 71. They're battling just that 91 is David Kirk. He's out of the 14th place position right now. There's Barry Karsten now as we make our way through the 10 Commandments, appearing to be by himself in that number 1 spot. Karsten on that Bromley Suzuki. And unless we've lost John Gruey, he should be up front by about 10 seconds ahead of the 31 of Karsten. So a 1-1-1, that's pretty mathematically complete there, as Gruey would take the championship as well as the overall win here today, and the Moto win. So it all combines together. We'll watch just a little bit longer here before we head down to the podium. Make sure there's not going to be any changes. 32 seconds back to the number 3 spot of Frank Koenig now. 4.5 seconds back to Mark Smith. So Mark was really trying to put some pressure on at one point, but looks like he's settled into that pace now at a 2:09 and a 4+ second deficit. So looking like it's going to be Gruey, Karsten, and Koenig, and that would be what we would see for the overall as well as the podium. So national number 1, 2, and 3 are running 1, 2, and 3 on the racetrack right now. Koenig is looking at a 3-4-3 for his overall score for that 3rd place in the championship. So white flag out. I'm headed down to the podium, and we're going to talk to a John Gruey capturing another championship here at Loretta Lynn's, which I'm sure he'd hope to capture a couple more, but when you got the likes of Mike Brown out there challenging you, it makes it a little tougher. But nonetheless, Gruey got command and control of the Masters 50.
So Rodney Tomlin heading down to say hello to the star of his own show, the John Gruey Show, starring John Gruey. Gruey's just tough, man. He has gotten so much better with age. Really, really connects in his plus 50 class. He is just putting together a string of titles and looking good doing it. Check him out. Has a regular job, as all these guys do. Barry Carson's going to hang on for second. He'll go 2-2-2. That'll finish up second. Frank Koenig will be third. Mark Smith fourth. Matthew Crown fifth. Ralph Bentley sixth. Galen Dixon seventh. Earl the Pearl May is eighth. Todd Richetti in the number 9 spot. And James McLevain rounds out our top 10 as the Masters 50-plus class focuses on a checker flag for John Gruey. He's got one more lap to go. The 2-lap board now changes over to a white flag. John Gruey brings out the white flag for everybody behind him. One more to go. John with a 2:01. A 1:59 lap time, though, was his best lap. That is impressive. Gruey one more time through the Red Bull Arch. That is not John Gruey. That is a much bigger man than John Gruey. There's Gruey just leaving the shot. That is the number 78. That is not the number 70 of Gruey. Gruey just in front of him. Probably passed him, and then they got lost and stuck with him. Still give the guy some love, though, the number 78 machine. Might be an alternate. We are watching the 78. That is not our leader. The number 70 now coming around the big sweeper, and he will bring out the checker flag. There is John Gruey. Very similar colored motorcycle, 78 versus 70, but about 8 inches shorter, 50 pounds lighter. There's John Gruey. Looking over his shoulder. Where's everybody at? Pumped. There it is. The winner, plus 50 class. A perfect 3 moto sweep for John Gruey. And Gruey will roll that machine right up onto the podium. There's Barry Karsten out of New Jersey. And we'll take a look at the rest of your finishers. And here's how it shakes down. John Gruey, Karsten, Koenig. That is your podium. Mark Smith, 4th. Matthew Crown, 5th. But your championship's going to look like this. It's going to be Gruey, Karsten, and Koenig. And that's exactly how they finish in the moto. That makes things very easy for Rodney Tomlin down on the box. We'll send it out to the Race Tech podium where Rodney Tomlin has John Gruey.
Well, we got championship to award here to John Gruey in just a moment. So we're going to bring up our bronze and silver medal award winners first. All the guys, though, diving deep underneath that cool-down tent as they're all looking for a little coolness. Another hot afternoon here at Loretta Lynn's in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. The dog days of summer are certainly upon us, and as comfortable and a beautiful week as it has been, sun's certainly intense here in the afternoon and taking its toll in the late days. But, hey, I tell you what, it's certainly heating up the races quite a bit as well. And so we'll get Frank over here. It looks like he's got himself prepared for some cold drink as well. So we'll get these guys all suited up and ready to go, and we'll get these podiums underway. Stand by. All right, so Frank Koenig enjoying a cold drink in the cool down zone down here, and well-deserved one for that as we bring him up to the podium. And we tell you folks, put your hands together for 3rd place in our moto and 3rd place overall. Frank Koenig, ladies and gentlemen, taking the moto bronze. Wow, great race. Hot one out there, no doubt, huh?
A little hot out there. Get a good start. It's not as bad, but we're working through the back, some problems. So it was fun. Last 50, I think I got 3rd overall. So last year was 6th. I halved it, so I'm happy. Very, very happy.
There you go, man. Did you keep inching up like that? You're going to be knocking on the door for a championship here pretty soon.
Also, I just want to thank RacerX, you guys, RacerTV, everybody, Loretta Lynn's. I mean, it's an amazing thing we get to come out here and do this all the time. So, hey, one thing though is when you guys were videoing everybody, don't just do 1st and 2nd. There's a whole other bunch of people back there. Really help everybody out. So,
hey, they're getting better at it, man. We got some really good shots of you guys out back there battling. I called the race myself, man. Good job out there today. Anybody else you want to send some shouts out to?
I got a good friend out here helping me. Couldn't do without him. 100% Fly, WPS, Mike from WPS, all my kids, and my mom. I love you. That's it.
There you go. Everybody loves a mama, man. Frank Koenig taking the bronze and the overall top 3 here for 2019, according to results. And this guy right here going 2-2-2 for the weekend, 2nd today with silver, and also 2nd overall on the week. We'll get you your big silver medal there. He grabs the Bell Helmets Whole Shot Award, picks up an extra $100. How about it for Barry Karsten? Barry, great job, man. Good way to pull the whole shot again, man.
Yeah, I just had to get up there with John, stayed with him about 4 laps, and he just motored down and kind of pulled away. But I rode good that race. I was happy with the way I rode. All weekend it was a little tight. Hard to push because of the humidity and the track conditions. But, everybody has that problem. But I'm happy.
I'm glad you're happy. Who do you want to say thanks to?
Start from the beginning, Bromley Suzuki, the Orem Army in Suzuki Contain the Sea, Arai, Scott, Dunlap, FMF, Decal Works, Twin Air, Sunstar Sprockets, KPS Suspension, Bob's RV, my own company where I do all week long and then allows me to come racing. FMF, thank everybody for coming out. Thank all the competitors I race against, and my family, they're behind me 150%. The weekends I don't want to come, they still come. I came off a pretty good injury from Mini-O's, and I'm almost back to 100%.
Awesome, man. Good to see that. Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Karsten taking the silver here today and looking like second overall for 2019 here at the Dude Ranch. And you can take that little check there if you want to. Yep, that one. I'll keep that right there for this guy coming up next, getting the gold and getting himself a pair of Oakley sunglasses to give to the lady, the special lady in his life, and going 1-1-1 here in the Masters 50 Plus class. Put your hands together for John Gruey. John, brother, I can't believe you went in and dug out the old gear from back in the day, man.
Yeah, I had to take all the mothballs out of it and freshen it up a bit, but it's sick. I love it when they do stuff like that. It's just different, so it really makes it fun for me and them, I'm sure, and it looks sick.
It does, man. That's some sharp-looking gear, no doubt about it. And if you're going to win, you might as well look sharp doing it, brother. That was another clinic out there, it seemed like, for that Masters 50-plus class.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't feel like it started that way. I felt tight, and I didn't know where Barry was, and I turned one corner, and he was still right there, and I was like, oh, man. So I tried to, put my head down and be a little bit more aggressive, and I did. I pulled away, so it was good.
Awesome. Who do you want to say thanks to?
Team Babbitt's at home, Kawasaki Team Green, Decal Works, Fox Gear, Dunlop Tires, Factory Connection Suspension, Bell Helmets, CHP Designs for the sick paint job, Twin Air, Renthal, W Wheels, man, I think FMF Exhaust, I don't know if I said them, but man, I appreciate everybody that helps me along the way.
All righty, sounds good. And here to present to you from the American Motorcyclists Association with your AMA #1 plate for the Masters 50-plus class, Mr. Alex Hunter. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your 2019 Masters 50-plus AMA National Champion.